are you doing? Stephanie Cake, you let me know if the sound sounds okay. I'm in a different space today. I'm at home, actually, because we're having a bit of a heat wave, and that is not fun in my office, because the office is great, but it gets really hot because it gets sun all day. I think I've said this before, but it gets sun all day, and the windows were put in the 80s, and the AC guy's like, you could fry an egg on these windows when it's really hot. I was like, I know. So we're gonna have this heat wave, and so I thought, I'm gonna take my gear home, and I've still got some stuff to figure out. I mean, I'm a little bit, hang on.
I think you need to bump the volume up a little bit.
Okay.
Because it's low for me, and it sounds like it's low for the nerds.
Okay. How is that? I'm gonna turn that up a little bit. It makes sense that it would need a little bit more juice. I can do more, a little more. Yeah. Up. Okay, let me do one other thing too. Better? Okay, yeah, thank you. Cool. So then we'll be able to hear Stephanie better too. Okay, thank you so much. Because, I'm in a new space, and so I did some checking, but now we know we're good. Yeah, and the lighting, I mean, whatever. We're going to be here for the next few days. Into next week. So, good morning. It's the morning show, and I can say hello to our folks across the pond and in other locales around the world. We do have people who watch from around the world, I happen to know, because we have analytics. We can look at these things, and people say hello in the chat and also on the Discord. We have a Discord server for subscribers, and it's really fun. We call ours the Disco, and it's like the clubhouse where we hang out when the show isn't on. So you should subscribe today, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. So I've started the show a few times now with, thoughts or something. And I have something today, but it's a story. I don't want to do some sort of, motivational speech or something every time. But the first two openings to the show have been a little bit like that. Last on Tuesday, I started, I was emotional. I mean, I cry almost every day, people. Almost every day. But I don't want to do it on the show very often. Anyway. So I don't know. I just can't look down at the monitor. I'll crack up. Okay. So I wanted to tell you a story. So I was, this is about my days doing TV, the PBS stuff. So I was single, basically the whole time I was on the show. I mean, I was dating, but I was single, and I was unmarried. I was an unmarried woman. And so I would get letters, from viewers who, from men, okay, male viewers of the show who, would, try to start a conversation with me or something, And I got a number of letters from prison, which was very interesting. And you can tell, because the return address is like such and such correctional facility and stuff. And by the way, the reason I want to tell you this story is because I really am grateful for Eric, and he's on a work thing at the moment. And I was just thinking, I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about, how dating is really hard. And I don't want to, I don't know. I would have been really annoyed when I was dating if somebody had said, oh, I'm so sorry that you're dating. I'm just so happy that I got married and I found, my person. It's like, cool. Thank you so much for telling me how much better it is to be married or coupled up or whatever. So I don't want to give that impression, but I am very happy that after like 10 years of being single and doing the whole thing, that, I do have somebody, and I didn't know that I'd ever get married again. And anyway, it happened. So I didn't want to get married again, by the way. Anyway, so my mom said when I started getting these letters, she was like, I used to get those, she's like, I don't get them. You get them now. Good job. And some of them were kind of weird, some were kind of weird. The one that was probably the weirdest was this guy said, well, no, the two I'm thinking of were equally strange. One of the guys said, would you please consider showing your feet during the tip section. Could the camera be moved so we could see your feet? I was like, oh God. Right? I mean, no. Of course I did not tell him no. I just did not respond. I told all the camera guys. They were like, oh my God, they were great. God, I miss them. Scotty. Anyway, so that was weird. And then, that's this other one. This was a postcard. And he said, I would love it if you would write me back. You're very beautiful. I noticed you're not wearing a wedding ring. I would love to meet you. Oh, and one of the prison letters said, actually, the couple of them that I got, they both said, I'm innocent. I didn't do it. Of course, you didn't do it. And one of them was like, I get out in 6 months. It's like, great. I'll set my, alarm to remind me that this person is getting out of prison. But this postcard was like, I would love it if you would write me back. But if you don't, I'll assume that it's okay to keep sending you letters. Now that, to me, I was like, that's the mind of a criminal. Or something. It's really manipulative, right? Because either way, he was like going to get what he wanted. It was really weird. I was like, ugh. But I didn't get like a bunch of letters from him, but I thought that was super weird. So I told this story to Eleanor Burns, at some point, and she was like, oh yeah. She's like, oh yeah, in her Eleanor Burns voice. I used to be able to do a good impression of Eleanor, but anyway, she was like, oh yeah, this one letter I got, the man said, if you wear red, I know you'll be thinking of me. Oh, it's like, no, I can't wear red now. That sucks. And so then to sort of wrap it up, it's just these stories are funny. It's funny. And speaking of single people, my mom always said that quilt conventions should be held in the same like convention center at the same time as like a typewriter convention or some I don't want to say that there aren't a lot of women in astronomy. I don't know. I think there actually are, but like an astronomy conference or maybe a rare book conference, where there's a lot of like single guys, maybe like a computer programming, like, I don't know, Python or something like that, where they could do a mixer with the single ladies and quilting and the single guys and the other thing. So anyway, to kind of finish up, there was one more instance that was really funny. When I was single, out on the quilt teacher circuit, it was so sweet. I was in Omaha, and I remember, the location sometimes, but I was in Omaha, and I did a workshop, and I did a lecture at night, and, full house. It was great. I was feeling great. I really gave it my best shot. I always bring my very best to every lecture. Always. Just FYI. I love it. I love doing it. And this woman comes up to me afterward and she was like, oh, Mary, that was so great. I just think you're just a great speaker, and I just love watching you on TV. And she probably said something like, because I got this a lot, I don't know that she did, but some people would be like, in the beginning I just didn't like you at all, but you are great. You've really grown on me. And it's like, cool, thank you. I didn't get that a lot, but I've gotten it enough where I'm like, so I just couldn't stand you in the beginning, but wow, now. She said, I know you mentioned that you're not married, and I don't know. I'm just that, I have a son who he's really sweet. This happened a couple times, but this is the best one. She's like, he's such a nice guy. He's got a good job. He's got a car. And it was like, she didn't say like, he's got all his teeth, but it was like, she's really selling it. And she said, he's living with me right now, but it was just, it's temporary or whatever. And I was like, well, I'm sure he is really nice, but I live at the time I was in DC. I was like, I live in Washington, DC, and we're in Omaha, so, And just, I barely got out of my mouth, that like, well, I don't think, like, I live in DC and he lives in, and she was like, oh, he'll move. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's no problem. I was like, you want to get rid of him, don't you? So that was sweet. I mean, she just was like, I want my son to be with you, and it doesn't matter what has to happen to make that happen. So anyway, that's some stories from the road, and ultimately, the point of it is that I'm really grateful for Eric, and I think he might be watching right now. I don't know. He can say hi if he is. But no pressure. And by the way, no pressure for anybody who's in the lurker lounge. A lot of people watch the show, but they don't get into the chat. I love it. It's great. I get it. And we love to hear from you. But, whatever, man. Just do whatever. I mean, maybe you're like, I don't know, maybe you're mopping the floor or something. Maybe you're like vacuuming or something. You got your hands full. You're just listening. It's great. So what I'm going to do today, hello everybody, by the way. Caitlin's here. Hey, I'm so glad. I'm going to say hi to folks in just a minute. SJ Pepper. Oh no. I want to know what SJ Pepper has for breakfast. Actually, I want to know what all of you have for breakfast. That's a good question. We talked about sweet versus salty at one point, but I want to know, like, what is the breakfast, your go-to? I made blueberry muffins, and I'll give you the recipe. Anyway, today I'm going to do the intro quilt first. I'm just going to launch right into the intro quilt, because now that I'm kind of doing these little, monologues, opening monologues, like, Stephen Colbert or whatever, Johnny Carson. I mean, I think I'm more like Johnny Carson than anybody. I'm kidding. Because I do that, I want to get into some visuals right away, and then I've got some fun announcements. So we'll do that. And then, okay, the show this morning, forget about it. Amazing content. I think so. It's interesting to me, so hopefully it'll be interesting to you too. That's the goal. Okay, so I'm gonna get small and talk about the quilt behind me. Help, I'm small. The other thing I'm gonna do today that's a little different is we're not gonna have the chat on the screen. Is that what we decided, Cake? Just for now, we're gonna try, okay, until I can figure out, I know it seems simple, but it's just never simple. Until I can figure out how to get the chat running along one side of the screen, but still readable. We'll try that, and then we'll see. Because, the reason we like it is because it's always been part of the show. People who are watching the replay can watch it. All of those reasons, or stay in touch with what people are saying. But there's good things and bad things. All right, so this quilt, you might notice, has a backwards N. Yes, it does. Where? Oh yeah. Where are my notes? It has a backwards N in it. And I think that's great. So I thought I would share it with you. And here we go. It was made in, let me see. Oh, here we go. Don't do that to me. Nope. Sorry. Don't like that. Don't like it one bit. Thank you. This quilt was I found in the book or the wonderful publication Pieced by Mother, which was published actually. Do I remember? I don't have the book with me because I'm at home, but I think it was like 96. I don't know. Anyway, Jeanette Lazansky was, I don't know. I want to know more about this person. I don't know if she's still living. I don't know anything about her really, except she produced these gorgeous publications, like 4 of them, or maybe just 3. I don't know, but it was like Lazansky Publishing. Anyway, brilliant. We'll talk about her more because I want to know about her. But she has amazing quilts in these different books. And this one, I noticed, of course, because it has the backwards N. And if some of you aren't familiar with the backwards N thing, it's in the Quilt Nerd logo. You can see down there at the corner of the screen. It's in the Quilt Nerd logo. And sometimes, as in the case that you see before you now, sometimes in these quilts from the 19th century, maybe there's some in the 20th century too, sometimes you see this thing, this backwards N, and it's like, what's going on? What's going on with this? Why is it backwards? And some people, have theories about that. Some people, say that it's, even that someone was dyslexic or something, and maybe reversed it. The person making the quilt was dyslexic, Some people, let me do one thing really quick. Hang on. Other folks say that, somebody just did it wrong, put it in wrong, and didn't fix it, but that to me doesn't seem to make sense. I don't know. So we don't really know. There's different theories about it, but whatever it is.
This one looks very deliberate, Mary.
I know.
This one seems like
yes. There's no
they had this planned.
way. There's no way that this person. Why can't I zoom in today? There's no way that this person put those flowers on this. The end went down first, man. The end went down first, and then those flowers were added. You can't tell me different. Why would she put flowers in and then try to match the end to the flowers around it? This person was like, hello, backwards end. Damn it. We got to figure it out. Somebody's got to figure it out. I can't believe that the great brains of quilt scholarship, I'm not like throwing shade. It's like, why haven't you all figured this out yet? But like, seriously though. And maybe we don't even want to know. Maybe the reason is like extremely lame. Like, what if it's like an Oddfellows thing? Not that that would be lame, but like, what if it's like some kind of, there
secret quilter society that we don't know about yet?
What it is? The Naked Quilters Secret Society. Because there has to be an N. There has to be a reason. Maybe the backwards N is like, this quilt naked, y'all. And now the ones who know. If you don't know, you don't know. If you have to ask, you'll never know. Look, until somebody comes up with a better theory, the backwards N in a quilt means they were naked. I don't know. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Anyway, so the backwards N is this mystery, and it is kind of like a secret handshake among like really deeply nerdy quilt people, So we love it, and when I see a quilt with a backwards N, I gotta get up in there. So that's the intro quilt, and it was made, by Orrin Landis. How can we tell? This is another reason this quilt, it just totally rules. It's like, I made it, okay? Like maybe her sisters or Orrin, I suppose it could be a fellow. I don't know that name. This quilt, as you can see, was made in 1896. We don't have any debate about that. And it's just like, I am making this quilt and you will never forget it, that I made it. It's also possible, she was doing an album quilt, and you look at some, this is not, this one up here, this block. That takes a while, the basket and the tulips and the whole thing. So maybe she was like, I don't want to do birds. Birds are really hard. I'm not doing a cornucopia or the horn of plenty, I'm not doing that. So I'm just going to do the letters. Whatever shall I put on the quilt in letters? Oh, I know. My name. It also really works well with 4 letters, 6 letters, 4 letters. It's great. Yeah.
It is. Warden Birdnerd is suggesting that Orrin is a man's name.
Is that so?
I've heard Orem with an M. That's a town in Utah, isn't it? Orem, Utah.
Interesting.
But also, I feel like it's a name I've heard. Anyway.
Well,
so
here's
maybe backwards ends are a male thing. Although we know, was it Rebecca? Too many women did backwards ends.
Right. Well, here is. My family started texting me, and I haven't turned off the notifications. You know what? My family is one of those families. I am a product of them. Just a zillion texts at once. Just a flood, So I'll deal with it. Anyway, okay, so I have an answer, because we have a caption for this. Quilt made by, I'll deal with that in a second. Quilt made by Mary Elizabeth Weber. So we might all be right. Boiling Springs, Cumberland County, South Middleton Township, Cumberland County, Pennsylvania. Pieced and appliqued. Solid colored print cotton. Okay, we know that. 78 inches square with 6 to 7 stitches per inch. Love that for us. Love it. It's totally my average. Signed and dated Orrin Landis, 1896. Signed Orrin Landis, but this other person made this? It doesn't make sense. What could it be? Whatever does it mean? Maybe Orrin Landis, maybe she was naked and this was her lover. I don't know. Have I ever said lover on the show? Well, I guess it's a theme with these. No, I'm not. Anyway. So that is our intro quilt today. I am going to, I think it's fine. Could you hear that ding? It's done. It's not going to come. Did you hear the ding of the text message on there? Okay, great. It won't be there for long, even if you can hear it. Okay. So that is our intro quilt, and now I have some good news for the merch people. For the people who enjoy the merch. So we have Quilt Nerd merchandise, and I have some work to do. Oh yes, Stephanie Cake is wearing her Poison Green shirt right now. That's right. I will show you what we mean. Look, Poison Green. We have a line of t-shirts, and they are rather hilarious, I think. We have a lot of different kinds. We have Turkey Red, for example. We have Poison Green. We have Antimony, which is cheddar, another word for cheddar, and we have Double Pink. And these are the original merch items. And I just made a Quilt Nerd logo shirt, which I think is pretty cool. And also, we have these wonderful things. We have fun things. We have stickers. We have buttons. These are all through Threadless here in Chicago. So these stickers are great. Keep quilts weird, man. Keep quilts weird. Stickers. Look, they even show it on your skateboard. I know many of you are skateboarders. And Stephanie Cake, are you a skateboarder? Is your son a skateboarder?
No.
Okay. So far we don't have anyone buying these. There's notebooks now to jot down your Quilt Nerd notes. You have so many things you have to jot down. So all of this is through Threadless, and Threadless is great. They always run sales, and coupon codes are in the works for folks who are subscribed at tier 2 and 3. Working on a couple things with that. Have to do that. But there's something more now. I am in talks. I'm in talks with a fellow at Etsy who makes book stamps, book plate stamps. Because we have book plates in the merch store, but they're not, Quilt Nerds have so many books that the Quilt Nerd book plate sticker, it's not realistic because it's like, I don't know, $3 or something. So Stephanie Cake got these amazing book plate stamps made from this guy on Etsy. And so I talked to him, and he can do these, and they're lick'em stamps, right? Is it lick'em? You lick them. Or you dab them with water.
Stick, and they're very nice.
That he gets like a zillion 5-star reviews. He's like great. He's great. So I know everybody is wanting these. A lot of folks have wanted them. I want them because when you have a wonderful quilt nerdy book, then a book plate's a good thing. It's not in any way reducing the value of a book. To me, it increases the value because when I see someone's signature in the front of the book, I love it. It's the provenance, and Quilt Nerd approved. Are you kidding me? It's cool. Okay, it's really cool. So here's the deal. I have a price, and I'll tell you the price. So he can do. I was like, can I get 250 sheets of these? He can only do 50 really at a time, which they're gonna go quick. And it would be $3 a sheet. I'm just being transparent about this because, why not be? Because I want to stock these, and I can mail them out. Because that's the other thing with doing Threadless, it's all print on demand. Believe me, I ain't got room for inventory, people. And I don't have the capital to do it, to invest in it. Not yet. So I want to do these, and I can have them at the office, and I can put them in envelopes and send them out to people who order them, okay? But I can only get 50 at a time, so here's the deal. That's a $150 outlay, right? This takes me in, oh, look at this is so great. This takes me into my pitch. I hope that you will subscribe today to Quilt Nerd because your support makes this show possible. It makes possible stuff like this. It makes possible, I'll be going to AQSG seminar, which comes up in just very soon, and has to do with the show today, actually. Stephanie and I are going to TwitchCon October 6th through 9th. I got to buy this girl a margarita, people. And I need to buy myself one too. So when you subscribe, it means everything, absolutely everything. I think you should subscribe at the tier 2 level. I do. It's $9.99 a month. If you watch the show all the time, I hope you subscribe at any level, but you get perks, you get special streams, you get a postcard from me, So we want to do this kind of stuff, right? I really want to do, these book plates and all this stuff. It's so great, but it all costs money, these trips, oh my God. So you can subscribe. You can also hit the donate button on the About page on Twitch. And, I'm getting better at doing the pitch, y'all, because I have to. You can, there's a donate button, which does the Cash App thing. Cash App is completely safe. It's totally cool. I think they charge less of a transaction fee than PayPal. I feel like that's a thing. I can confirm that. But Stephanie, can you confirm that? Is Cash App better? Everybody charges a transaction fee like PayPal does, but I feel like Cash App doesn't charge as much, and that's part of the reason people like it.
Yeah, Cash App is kind of one of those, here's some money, they're going to skim a little off the top. PayPal's is more complicated.
Yeah, and it's PayPal. They're just, terrifying. So that's super safe to do that donation. But I did hear from a dear nerd that, they weren't totally comfortable with that. I completely get it. So that's the work address. Oh, that's the office address. So if you want to send it, a donation, I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it. It'd be great. And yeah, I'm not taking Bitcoin. I did that years ago. I did the Bitcoin thing and I got out just in time. Anyway, that I got out years ago and I totally missed the bubble, which is probably good, even though I wish I would. Anyway, we're not doing crypto. So that's the address for stuff. And and I just really, really appreciate your support. Right now it's September on Twitch. So you must look at the sale. If you subscribe for 6 months, you get 30% off your subscription. Oh my God. My family, okay, I need to tell them. Okay, so look at September, subscribe to the show. I would really appreciate it. And that is the end of the pitch at the moment. I want to say hi to to Susanna. Susanna in Q8. She is our marketing doyenne, our marketing and our financial advisor, something like that. On Facebook, she's marked as the financial something. It was very funny. We call her the pie because we get Stephanie cake. And Susanna, how are you doing? Are you good? Yes, she says she is good. I did not tell her.
I was muted.
Oh, okay.
I'm here. I'm good.
Good, great. Okay.
It's dinner time.
Yes, it's dinner time in Q8. I'm really glad you're here. It's a party. And then we got Stephanie Cake, who's on the phone on the Eastern Seaboard, helping out with the show. Hey, Steph.
The Eastern Seaboard. I like that. It makes me sound like a whaler.
Yeah. Yes, in your spare time, a whaler. I love it. Okay, so here's one of those interesting. Let's get into this, everybody. And yeah, Susan and Robin's here, and everybody. Kimber. So we are gonna look at a couple things that to me are they're totally out of left field. I don't know. I found something yesterday that I just had to talk about, and that's in the second section. So I was looking at a book from the Met called American Quilts and Coverlets by Amelia Peck, who's the head curator of textiles or something over there. She's a super big deal. And she knows her stuff, is what I'm trying to say. And she wrote this book about certain things in the collection. And this quilt is called the Mikado quilt, okay? Mikado, Mikado. And I was like, oh yeah, the Mikado, that's a play, right? Or that's a show. It's a show. And so stay with me, because some of you may know the Mikado and you know that it's there's problems for a lot of people with this show. But anyway, so I was like, oh, that's so crazy. It was one of these moments. It was one of these moments that was so freaky because at AQSG seminar, in a couple weeks in San Diego, Molly will be there, by the way, Molly the nerd, and M. Hicks will be there. There's a talk. Stephanie, can you tell me who's giving the talk on, and just bear with me because all will be revealed. There's a woman giving a talk on a quilt, and what is her name?
Her name is Frances McMeekin. It's McMeeken.
Frances McMeekin. I'm looking forward to meeting you. And you're giving a talk on the Machado quilt. Machado. When I saw the Mikado quilt, very much by chance, in that American Quilts and Coverlets book, I was like, oh my God. Well, there's a woman giving a talk on this quilt at AQSG. How interesting. But it's not the case. No. There is a Mikado quilt, which I'm going to read to you about, and there's a Machado quilt. And they're not the same thing. And the difference between them is fascinating. So we're going to look at the Mikado quilt. What's this all about? And then we're going to look at the Machado quilt, which is what the woman is giving the talk on at AQSG, which lives in San Francisco. I mean, the quilt, I believe, is at the Historical Society in San Diego. San Diego, that's where seminar is. Okay, so what's going on here? Mikado quilt. Maker unknown, New England, about 1886. Quote, Amelia Peck, quote, cotton fabrics printed with imitation patchwork, aka cheater cloth, if you're nasty, were manufactured in America. Imitation patchwork fabrics were manufactured in America from around the time of the centennial in 1876 through the end of the 1880s. The designs on the front and back of this work are among the more amusing prints of this type. The print on the back, I have a detail of it, come back to the other. The print on the back, in imitation crazy patchwork, illustrates the yachts that raced in the 1886 America's Cup. Interesting. It has yet to be assigned to a specific printworks. The Mikado print on the front, however, can be documented to an important American printworks. The Museum of American Textile History in Massachusetts was able to identify it in the archives they own from the Cocheco printworks at Dover, New Hampshire. There is both an engraver sheet and a sample of the Mikado print, which is identified and dated 1886. The Cocheco printworks specialized in bright, inexpensive, and novel printed cottons for the working and middle-class markets. While the trendsetters of the aesthetic movement were seriously considering the influence of Japanese design on Western art, the general public was delighting in Gilbert and Sullivan's 1885 comic operetta, The Mikado. Its fame must have spread quickly, because the Cocheco designer's Mikado print fabric was ready within months of the operetta's London debut. The layers of the simple quilt are attached in the most elementary way. In the manner of many crazy quilts that have actually been pieced, this work's cotton top, back, and batting are tied through with cotton threads, in this case at the interstices of each block on the Mikado side. Oh, okay. The block is, like this one that's in white here. That would be the block, right? Interesting. So interesting. Okay. This carefully placed tying probably means that the Mikado side was originally meant to be the top of the quilt, but the America's Cup side is more faded and light bleached, indicating that it was face up for a long time. Okay, so interessante. So then I was like, are there other quilts of this variety? Like, where else do the Mikado quilts exist? I think this is from Laura Fisher. You know, we've talked about Laura Fisher, the dealer who recently passed away. Famous dealer, one of the best. she really had our kind of taste too. I mean, she liked weird quilts too. I really wish I could have gotten to meet her. Anyway, this was a very deep cut. I mean, I couldn't. The URL was broken. I could only find it on an image search. But I think this is the quilt. I mean, it makes a lot of sense that. Let me zoom out. That Laura Fisher would have sold. I'm sure she sold tons of quilts to the Met and lots of other museums. But this, to me, I mean, that's it, right? I suppose it could be something else, but to me, it looks like. To me, it looks like that's the one. Who knows? Who knows? We don't know. I'm speculating. So anyway, so then I was like, what's the deal with the Mikado? And are there any other quilts with the pattern? And the Mikado was written about in 2016 by E. Tammy Kim in the New Yorker, and it's the headline or the title of the article is An Asian American Reimagining of Gilbert and Sullivan's The Mikado. And I'm not going to read this whole article, of course, but I can tell you, so from 2016, by the way, the reason I have this, and this was from a website, Utah Quilt Appraiser, I believe. It's a cotton crazy quilt circa 1890. And here, I love it for one thing, here is a little bit of that fabric. How interesting. Oh, Mikado, Susan. Mikado. So, E. Tammy Kim writes, quote, on a recent weeknight in Midtown Manhattan, the Broadway actor Kelvin Moon Lowe led a rehearsal of The Mikado, one of the most popular works in the 19th century, from the 19th century duo W.S. Gilbert and Arthur Sullivan. The two-act comic operetta set in Edo-era Japan, Edo, is a satire of Victorian culture masquerading as a convoluted and kitschy love story. In the predominantly white world of American and British theater, its Japanese characters have typically been played by white actors in wigs and kimonos with tape-stretched eyes and kabuki-style makeup. I mean, it's just... I mean, and that's what I was like, I think the Mikado, like, I think there's, like, a thing about it, right? And that's just, you know, not that I need to tell you that it's why it's lame, but maybe I do. You know, there are actors who are Japanese, and, you know, they could play Japanese people, right, in a play, you know, and that would be best, right, don't you think? So this kind of thing is why this is controversial, the way that this has usually been performed, the Mikado. And this is why, gosh, sorry guys, I need to have, I probably have dust in the house, that's why. So this is why this show is so fun, because you know what? 2 days ago, I didn't know about the Mikado. I only knew it was like a play. I didn't even know it was a musical. I thought it was a play. Well now, because of Quilt Nerd, because of Quilts, and then the show that we get to do together, now I know what the Mikado is. You know what I mean? That's cool. I love it. Let me zoom out a little bit to show you this quilt because it's really great. So I'll zoom in and out while I'm telling you a little bit about this Mikado. And look at these wonderful pictorial things. Look at the boot. There's a boot. Oh, I love shoes. Period. And I also love shoes and quilts. Oh, they're so great. I think there should be a book, and it should be all of the wonderful shapes. There's a mitten. It should be all of someone should make a book for children or something. I'm just riffing here. Please do it. Whatever. I'm old enough to know now that like a really great idea, unless you're actually going to do it, like Quilt Nerd, don't worry about sharing your idea. You know, it's like, are you really going to do a thing? Are you really going to make a book of whatever? Then maybe don't talk about it, you know, because somebody might scoop you. But in general, no one does anything with their ideas. So like, Someone make a book that's a beautiful, like, you could even do like an encyclopedia. Be the next Barbara Brackman. Do an encyclopedia of all the wonderful pictorial figures in quilts. Wouldn't that be fun? Oh, God. If anybody is going to do it, tell me because I actually really want to do it. Don't take my idea. Whatever. So that would be so much fun. Either a children's quilt or, a children's book or something. Just wonderful. Look at these. Look at these. The shoe. I'm getting back to the Mikado. Just... Anyway, so So they say, but the show that Mr. Lowe is directing, assistant directing, does away, with yellowface and exotic costumes and features Asian Americans both behind the curtain and on stage. That's really cool, man. I mean, I think that's really cool. So in 2016, they did this, this performance that was like super legit. And it says, they're quoting him here. But he says, in a baby pink, the writer says, quote, in a baby pink rehearsal space lined with mirrors, Lowe, wearing jeans and a hoodie, led a pianist and 40-odd actors, many of them fresh off day jobs, through a complicated finale number. He asked a dozen women as they practiced snapping open their props, what are you doing with those fans? He borrowed one from a lead and demonstrated, hold them like this in still position. This director, and that's all I have to say about it, this director who has a background in the culture that the Mikado is, portraying, it's a better show. I mean, if nothing else, it's a better show when you have people who know what they're talking about. It's like way better. I'm sure that was like the best performance of the Mikado ever. Oh, here's a really nice detail shot of that mitten. And by the way, the horses there on the left, that is called a mill engraving print. It's conversation print, right? But the way that they made them at the time that this was printed at the print works, they were engraving these things. And those are my favorite fabrics of all time. I wonder why. But they have, some of them are really weird, like nails, and like there's one I saw of like a man riding a nail, which is probably like a horseshoe nail or something. Anyway, look at that little cat. Isn't that sweet? So there you go. So that's the Mikado quilt. Mikado. So remember, I was looking at the schedule. This is one of those I'm hot on the trail kind of things that just I love. I live for this stuff. So I have a muffin. I really want my muffin. So I'm like, okay, cool. Somebody's doing a talk on the Mikado quilt. That's so crazy because I just saw the Mikado quilt. So then I go to look at the schedule. No, it's not the Mikado quilt. It's the Machado quilt. Machado. Machado. And someone else wrote a paper on the Machado quilt in 1991 in Uncoverings. Okay. So Uncoverings is the annual journal of papers and research from the American Quilt Study Group that's holding the seminar, okay, in San Diego, right? And there's a woman giving a talk about this quilt this year. It's not the same woman who wrote this paper. That's not super important, but it's also important. So I go and look at my Uncoverings because anyway, the point is this is not the same quilt, obviously. So what is this? And what this quilt is, and Kyle Emily Ciani wrote about this quilt in 1991. And her piece is called The Machado Quilt, a study in multicultural folk art. Let me tell you about this quilt. SJ, what are you up to? I dare someone to go to Starbucks and order a venti, and I'll, okay, Estra says, is this the Cuban president Machado? You know what? I don't know. I don't know. No, not. No? Not? Oh, what happened? Did something happen? Stephanie?
The stream is back, but
okay.
It went out for a minute.
You know
Can
what?
You have it back, Susanna?
I saw a flicker. I did. I saw a flicker. I saw one weird little flicker.
It's back for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's back for me. I think there's a little bit of a delay, guys. So if you can hear me, you can hear us.
Oh, God. Yeah, that was weird. I saw that. Yeah. Okay, that's... If it does it again...
You're back now.
Okay. If that does that again, I mean... Oof. It's not battery. Okay. Yeah. Okay, if it does it again, I might restart the stream. It happens sometimes. I might do it. I don't like it, but you just let me know stuff, okay?
Okay.
So I'll go on with things and then you just let me know. We haven't had I'm joyous. We haven't had, too many, knock on wood, whatever. I'm gonna go on. Please, gods. So here's what we know about this quilt. Esther was like, is that the Cuban president Machado? And I saw Stephanie go, because she was letting me know that the stream was flickering, and I was like, oh God, President Machado is a terrible guy. Like, what's going on? What? Did I say the wrong thing? Asked her, what are you saying? And I mean, I was just funny because I don't know anything about that person, right? It's just silly. Okay, so okay. From Siani. Oh my God. In the rural and nearly isolated southernmost corner of 19th century California, a Spanish woman grasped a truly American folk art, quilting, and gave it a home. And by the way, it happens to be Hispanic Heritage Month. That's right, it started yesterday. So once more, everything's right on time. It happens all the time with the show. Doña Juana de Dios Machado Alipas Wrightington of San Diego created an applique quilt of an original design in the mid-19th century. The term original may cause some quilt historians to question whether the quilt exhibits known pattern. Stephanie, will you text my sister Hannah and tell her to please take me off the text thread? I didn't think about doing that before, literally, because like they're really on a tear. I really can't do that. Thank you. The term original may cause some quilt historians to question whether the quilt exhibits a unique form or represents rather an abstract application of a known pattern. This is a long piece. I'm skipping around. I've got highlighted areas to share with you. Doña Juana, her creation, known as the Machado quilt, has generated speculative inquiry among quilt experts since its discovery in 1953. Because Juana did not sign or date her quilt, I've got a couple other images of it, you guys. Look at this. Well, a couple other, not many, but here is this is not from the Uncoverings thing. This is, I believe this is a reproduction of the quilt, but there it is. And this was an exhibit in San Diego at some point. Okay. She did not sign or date her quilt. So debate ensues over whether to attribute the work to Juana based on family oral tradition, but nevertheless, experts accept her as the quilt maker, have dated the piece circa 1850, and consider it the oldest known quilt made in California. Okay, so I figure showing you a reproduction in color is okay. So just again, this is like someone has redone it, which is great. The quilt surfaced in 53 when one of her grandchildren donated the quilt to the San Diego Historical Society, which is where I believe it is now. But yeah, this was written in 1991. It's been a minute since then, so I'm not sure. But it'd be so much fun when I'm in San Diego to go see it. M. Hicks, Marcia, Molly, we could maybe go see it. I don't know if it's on display. Hand appliqued and hand quilted, the Machado quilt drew admiring accolades from both novice and experienced quilt connoisseurs during the 1990 Ho for California exhibition. Sorry. We have an Abe Books affiliate link for that book, by the way. It's great. Rich in color and composition, exact in execution, the Machado quilt incites the historian to seek further information. What images affected the design of Juana's unique medallion motif? Who taught her to stitch? How does her quilt resemble other folk art forms created in the southwestern region? So what the paper taught, and that is Juana. Okay, let me get rid of myself here. I don't want to cover that up. So that's our lady. That's Doña Juana de Dios Machado. So it's not the President Estrada. It's not the President Machado. I mean, we would have to read the whole paper. Maybe she's related. I don't know, but so that's her. And what the paper talks about, and I mean, I had to skim it because I can't. This is a presentation. This is an exploration, not a presentation. It's so important to know that we're learning together. This person talks about, the writer Siani talks about how there's no concrete evidence, but contact through maritime trade could have been the channel for quilts entering this particular area back in the day. Not at this time, but when she was learning how to sew. And she says a review of quilt patterns described as native to 19th century Hawaii and Northern Ireland, excuse me, reveals striking similarities to the Machado quilt. Missionary women from Boston introduced Hawaiian women to quilting in 1820. We've talked about Hawaiian quilts, fascinating. And according to Hawaiian quilt historian Stella M. Jones, Hawaiian women created quilts as a form of expression rather than bed covers. Also amazing. They didn't need them in Hawaii for warmth. They were like, art. Gee. We know that Juana learned to sew at an early age from Doña Lugarda, wife of Alferez Ignacio Delgado, a sub-lieutenant in the Spanish army. Oh, and Lugarda arrived in San Diego from her native Mazatlan, Mexico, in 1819, and spent many hours with the young girls in the area. The point of all of this, it's fascinating. There are so many cultural influences around this quilt, and just like, this is also Juana. Oh, I don't know. I scanned this in. The black and white might be looking kind of funky on your screen. I don't know. But this is our girl, right? So, we have Spanish lieutenants, or we have, it's wife of, this woman. So this woman was this woman how to sew. Juana was from Mexico, married a lieutenant in the Spanish army, and they find themselves in San Diego. And then there's like the Hawaiian quilt stuff going on. And then Northern Ireland. It's awesome. It's so interesting. Oh my God. Close studies also revealed distinct similarities between the Machado quilt and images found in Native American designs and in regional religious and secular art. You couldn't see me throw my paper, but I did. It's so cool. I think it is so, so cool, the history of this quilt. And what was, this is the thing. This is the thing that happens, is that I was looking at the Machado quilt, man, and then all of a sudden I find this. And this person at the San Diego exhibit says her sisters or friends may have helped. There are variations in the stitches. Yeah. Fascinating, right? So good. So we have an affiliate link to, we send you to Abe Books because we have an affiliate link with them. And so if you ever, all we talk about is books that are out of print, pretty much. And so go get them used for a song, but get them through our link because then we get a ducat or two. From that.
I'm a bad cake. Which book was that?
Oh yeah, no, it's Uncovering's 91. Uncovering's 91.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I will apologize to the nerds. That one's not available on Abe.
Too bad.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes you can run into the Uncoverings. I have, but a lot of times you do have to go straight to AQSG for them. You
know what? That is true, and sometimes they're extremely expensive when you find them on the used thing. I forgot about that. Oh, but here is a fun tip: the Quilt Index, the Great Quilt Index, which I need to get to. I need to do some Quilt Index love. Quiltindex.org has all the uncoverings uploaded. Not the pictures, which is deeply frustrating, but that's okay.
Is that a copyright issue? I've always wondered about that because I have read some of them. I'm like, I need to see the quilt, but I can't see the quilt.
I'm sure that it is, except like that is one, and you can't play fast and loose with copyright. Okay, like I get it. But that's a situation where like an online, I'm sorry, the Quilt Index is amazing, but it's like, that's a case where like, how exactly is that picture going to be used in any way with a copyright issue that would be at all, what's somebody to do? Take a screenshot and then try to publish that picture of Don Juana and then sell 1 million copies of a book about her? Like, no, like that's educational research stuff. Like, they have their hands full. Like, I'm not like, dude, you should fix that or whatever. The Quilt Index is vast and incredible. But that kind of thing, like if you're ever starting an online database of stuff, like seriously, like what's the deal? Like those pictures would be really helpful, I don't know. That's probably going to come back and bite me because I'm critical of something, but I don't know. Like I am like that. Someday maybe they can go in there. Anyway, so I was looking for the Machado quilt. And this was the first hit. And speaking of shade, which I did not just throw over there. Maybe I put my foot in my mouth. I don't know. You know, it's like I love those people, right? And now I said, like, you did something wrong. I don't know. Anyway, this is the most terrible quilt I've ever seen because it's not because it's not real, right? It's a mass-produced thing where you can give your family name and they'll print it and make this. I mean, this is a digital image. It's not even an actual quilt. It's a Machado thing. Relax, Machado is here. I mean, it's one of those things that you order and it's not made, you know, well or in your state, you know what I mean? Like but I thought it was amusing to show. I prefer Don Juana. I prefer her piece. Okay, so Stephanie Cake, I'm gonna go to the cake break because I made muffins for breakfast and I have not eaten them yet and I need to eat. So I'm gonna flip it to you for a mo and you can talk about the things you want to talk about and Susanna, and then I'll be back with some muffins. But I don't want to really eat on camera so much, and also you have things to say. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. I am barely awake, nerds. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. You would think that I could get my act together before noon, but so Susanna's here. Say hi, Susanna, for the cake break.
Hey, I'm there. No, it's a cake and pie break. We need a new,
it's a cake and pie break. Yes, our little, yes, word burner, and I am in my jammies. We need a bakery break since Susanna's with us today. So I thought, for those of you that missed my wonderful mathematical breakdown on Tuesday, I'm not going to subject you to that again, but I did want to remind folks, especially since this being a morning show that a lot of people are excited about because they can come live. Just want to remind you guys, it's September, which is a Twitch promotion where they're giving discounts on subscriptions. And the great thing is, although you have a great discount, Mary still gets the normal break on her cut of the subscription price. So just because it's discounted doesn't mean that the Quilt Nerd show support is discounted. So definitely take advantage of that. And if you would like my really awesome mathematical breakdown, you could definitely go back and watch Tuesday's show because it's quite amazing. But I thought that I haven't talked about backwards N in a while, and I noticed there was a lot of stuff folks were throwing out there as possible backwards N reasons. And I had never seen that Oren Landis quilt. Had you seen it before, Susanna? You don't have to unmute. You could just thumbs up, thumbs down. No? Okay. I don't think I'd seen that one either. And that one looked so deliberate, like it's almost like they meant to do that. And some of the things people brought up in the chat was the Cyrillic letter N, which, I've seen some quilts that could possibly be, late 19th century, early 20th century immigrants who very well could have, just because of literacy issues, be mixing up their native alphabet. That makes sense. There's also, I think Barbara Brackman has suggested that it could be a literacy or a dyslexia issue that, people with dyslexia do sometimes turn their letters around. Although that's one that I've thrown out there. The issue I have is if the N's are backwards, then some other letters should be too. And we do see quilts where there are like S's backwards and R's backwards. And so you look at those and you think, okay, maybe this person, truly it was a literacy issue. And, maybe they couldn't, read or write. And as a side note, I learned recently reading and writing are actually, they're mutually exclusive. People, women especially, were often taught to read but couldn't write, and that was so interesting to me because I don't know about you guys, but when I was in school, reading and writing were you sort of learn those together. But anyway, I don't want to go off on that tangent. But I think it is very plausible that a lot of these quilts were made at a time when somebody may have had to write down a person wanted to put words or letters, someone else might write it down for them. And so then, the other thought is fabric being at a premium. Sometimes folks might accidentally put their template down wrong, and they've got the end sewn down before they realize it. And they're like, poop, I don't have the fabric to go and fix that. Or as my case would be, like, it's too late. It's just going to be backwards. I don't have time for this. So, there's so many different theories out there. And I know Word Bernard a long time ago said she was going to, really go after that and try to figure it out. Yes, and Holmes Baker, that you're making the point that was kind of my last one, is that some different styles of that fancy cursive handwriting actually kind of, the N did, like a capital N did look like a lowercase n. And in our day and age, we're used to fonts like on the computer, but they literally did have these handwriting fonts that kind of went in and out of popularity, or I guess cultural norm during that time. And if you do any sort of genealogy or research into things like that, you'll see this. Some of the censuses, the common, like the way the people were writing at the time, are very easy to read. And then other decades, you know what? I don't know where they learned some of that script, but it is impossible to read. So I think that all of these things are all possible and good reasons for backwards ends. But the one thing I will mention, when I was trying to do a little research, is that there is a train station, supposedly, I think it's in New Mexico. And again, I don't even know if this place is still standing, but I found a reference to it way deep in the archives of the interwebs, where the name of the train station had a backwards N, like, painted on the train station. So anyway, I throwing all that out there to you guys, somebody's gonna break this one day. I'm positive of it, Mary. I will put my money on Word Bernard because I feel like she finds anything and everything. But I know that there's also a lot of other very nerdy, researchy nerds out there. So I feel strong. Oh, okay. Holmes Baker says Union Pacific train station. Is that in New Mexico? Am I thinking of the right one? Yeah. So okay, Word Bernard's not gonna give up. But
don't give up.
I challenge all of you.
Yes. I mean, let's find it. Can you imagine if you're the one who broke the story, about the backwards N? Wow. Backwards N, reversed N. I like calling it a backwards N. Like, man, that N's really backwards, What's up with that? That N. Okay, it looks like I'm eating Harriet. It's Betts. I can't forget that it's Betts. The name of this animal is actually Betts. We know that from the Harriet Powers schematic, right? The takedown of the shapes on her quilt. Anyway, it's from Harriet Powers Bible quilt. Cake, did you say what you needed to say? Anything else? I don't want to rush you.
I did. I didn't want to bore anybody with my extensive mathematical description of September, but I did mention that September is a great thing because it means you get a great discount, but the show still gets the full cut of the subscription for support. So
that's amazing.
It's a really great time because it benefits the show, but it also benefits you because, honestly, I love to save money. So I did my September tier 2, so for 6 months.
That's awesome. Yes. What was I going to say? Oh, they do it once a year. That's it. Once a year. Okay. So what I was just eating, and I had to have a little bit more before I go on with this next part, which is so interesting. I made blueberry muffins 2 days ago. I just sent Stephanie Cake the link of what I used. Oh my goodness. Really good. Really good. And I can't bake to save my life. I'm a pretty good cook, I gotta say. I've been told many times I can really whip. I like making something out of nothing, just going into the pantry and being like, what can I do? And making something good. But I can't bake. Oh God, it always goes badly. But no, these muffins were great. And in fact, and I don't think I did it wrong, they almost are scone-like, which we like here. But they're almost scone-like. In their density. If I tried to make a scone, I couldn't do it. I have tried. They're horrible, but these muffins are really, really great. So I recommend them. Try baking at a high altitude. Kenny, hello Kenny, by the way. I feel like your suggestion for me to bake at a high altitude could even involve like hovering a little bit above the floor. Like I feel like like you could be our hoverboard maker. You may have, you know what I mean? Like tried baking at a high altitude. I just pictured me like up on a hoverboard. Okay. So
Susanna's in the future. Kenny's up higher than us.
That's true. And I think Robin right now is in the mountains, right? In Nevada. Or she's in Nevada. By the way, I have more big announcements coming. In fact, let's see. We have a show tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, I'm going to make an announcement about the bakery, Mary's Bakery, actually. Okay, so Lady K, by the way, Lady K, I'm so glad that you're here and you're back. You're a nerd for sure now. I mean, you're in this. Hey, Ivana. Shasta High Road. Oh, Shasta, it's so good to see you. I've missed you. Okay. Let's move on. So I tell Susanna, the pie, to our cake. Let me get small. I tell her what I'm going to do on the show. I mean, I try. I'm behind sometimes, but I put content into the into folders so she can have stuff for social media because she's handling pretty much all the social media. Oh, I forgot to do a social media post earlier today. She tries with me. I'm so bad at that stuff. But so I put content in these folders for her. I do the best I can. I do. But Susanna, sometimes it changes. And it's like, if you posted about, something today, I mean, I think I changed what we're doing. I'm pretty sure I did. I think it was going to be humor in Quilts, which is a content director request, which I have it all ready to go, a segment on quilts and humor. But then I found this thing and it relates to the other thing, barely, but a little. And I got to do this. So let me grab something and I will tell you what this is and what is this quilt and who made it. And oh my God, it's so interesting. And I found all this yesterday and I couldn't let it go. This quilt is for sale on Mercari, okay? Mercari. I don't explore Mercari very much. I have not gone in there to look for quilts, but I will. What was I looking for?
Mercari has some surprising things, by the way, you guys. I subscribe to all of the selling things places,
Really?
and I've got some interesting things off of Mercari.
I am totally going in to see what I can see, right? Definitely, with quilt stuff, but I mean, yeah, just with quilt stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting marketplace. It's resale, right? Obviously, but what's the difference between it and eBay? Like, I mean, it's just a different.
Technically, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, If you think of old school eBay, I didn't see a whole lot of differences. But this is really more like the independent people cleaning their closets out.
Okay.
Whereas eBay has become like this international marketplace kind of.
Sure.
This Mercari is definitely the yard sale of buying apps. But,
Okay.
I have gotten some quilt related stuff on there. So
I love that. I love it. Well, so I see this and it says the listing says rare Eleanor Beard quilt. Actually, like a pair of rare 1930s Eleanor Beard Trapunto quilts. And I'm like, Eleanor Beard. And you can tell, I mean, I could kind of tell, I think, that it was manufactured. I mean, it looks like it's mass manufactured to me. I mean, I don't know, like it just looks real puffy, and that's kind of a giveaway. And sure enough, it's got a label on it. And it says Eleanor Beard. Now, some of you are going to know about this person. I have no doubt because y'all are real smart and that's just the way it is with you people. And Eleanor Beard was a very big deal, okay? So here's some more pictures of this particular quilt. Oh, okay. And there's the label of the law or whatever. This quilt is in very good condition. And I think, so here's what's confusing. That looks like it's got a pink on the back. Yeah, it does. So this is the reverse of that quilt. I'm pretty sure. By the way, but there's two quilts. So it's not that there's one pink and one green. I believe that they're matching. Yes. Two matching quilts, so both reversible. So yes, two of these. And they're $400 total, which is interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, I know. So who is Eleanor Beard? Well, it's a big deal. She's a really big deal. Yeah, okay, those are the two different ones. Eleanor Beard was a person who, I'm going to read you this from eleanorbeard.com, which will take you somewhere else. Anyway. Quote. So Jane Scott Hodges wrote this, and I don't know when, but she says, it's called Linens for Every Room and Occasion. And this is the excerpt about Eleanor Beard. Here's another quilted object. Is it a quilt? Well, no. Is it quilted? Yes. So this is also Eleanor Beard. Okay. Scott Hedges writes, quote, Eleanor Beard was a shrewd businesswoman, unique within her generation, who had figured out early on the benefits of reaching out and marketing directly to women. Her husband owned a general store, and with the Great Depression in full swing, he was often paid in wool by the local farmers who had no cash. The wool itself had little value, and so after cleaning and batting it, Eleanor took orders for quilts and commissioned local craftswomen who would work from home, same, to make them. The gorgeous quilts became sought after in the luxury market, and soon Eleanor opened her namesake studio, employing hundreds of needleworkers. Look at this. This was for sale on First Dibs. I don't have a price on it. This was in the 1920s. This was made in the 1920s, and it sold, and I couldn't find any more information about it. Nor do I know if it was one of the ones that she was selling, because she made quilts too. But look at this. Very interesting, okay? So the products expanded in Eleanor Beard's studio, okay? And she's in Louisville. I'll bet you that Mary Kay Waldvogel knows so much about this person. I would love to talk to you about it, Mary Kay, if you're watching. I think you might be. Okay, the Eleanor Beard Studio expanded their products from quilts to include blanket covers, sheeting, table linen, bedclothes, and bath accessories, all of which stood apart from the mass-produced items found at department stores. Because, I mean, they stood apart from the mass-produced items found in department stores because they were being made, they were made by hand. I mean, things made by machine are also made by hand, but you know what I'm saying. They were being made as this cottage industry working out of people's homes. They have become family heirlooms that have been passed down for generations. Look at this one. The success of the enterprise grew to include shops in New York, Chicago, really? And elsewhere, which Beard intended as social clubs where women could relax and socialize while they shopped. Really? I have to know. I have to search Chicago Tribune Eleanor Beard shop. Are you serious? Where was it? Where are the pictures? Can I walk to the site where it was? I mean, I might not want to. It might just be like a CVS. Probably is. Yeah. But this is very beautiful. I wish the picture was better, but that's okay. I'm just so critical of people's documentation today, aren't I? What a jerk. Anyway, very interesting. Look at the way the cutout, look at the way, it's cut like that, which reminds you of the old quilts, right? That looked like a T, with room for the posters of the bed. But that's a different way to do it. That's interesting. Less invasive. This was for sale. This is from the 1920s. I don't know where I got this picture. This is an internet thing. I mean, I always try to tell you where I got things if I know. But sometimes it's like just the internet, sometimes it's just, that's all I have for you. But clearly, Eleanor Beard design. I mean, this is interesting. They remind me too of the way the Smithsonian mass-produced quilts look. I mean, those ones they made in the 90s. And I have a couple of them. I mean, they were hand sewn, like needle and thread, hand sewn by people, multiple people, whatever. So they don't come out, they're not like cookie cutter, assembly line kinds of things. It's interesting. It's a very interesting like texture and look. And I like it. I really do. I like it. I think it's cool. So I found a bunch more Eleanor Beard quilts. And part of the reason I even got here is because, it's so weird. Okay, let me just figure out how to get there. I was looking at, I was searching for Eleanor Beard quilts on the internet. Obviously, this is really cool. Look at this, the bunnies. Hey, Holmes. Wow, I'm really behind on the chat. So, I like the simplicity. Yes, Mother Nature, I agree. So, I'm looking online, and I see this quilt that I have seen many times. In fact, I had just seen it. I will show you what it is, and then I'll come back to these others, okay? This quilt came up in my search. Now, this quilt I had just seen because this quilt appears in the American Quilts and Coverlets book, where I found the Mikado quilt. I mean, I'm telling you, Susanna, yeah.
Is it the first one or the second one?
It's the, it's
There are
the,
two.
it's the first one.
I'll share both.
Yeah.
I'll share both.
Share both, you're right. Oh man, that stinks. You know what, I don't have both of them. So donate to Quilt Nerd today, because there's a lot of books I still need to get. It benefits you, the show just gets better the more stuff I have to show you. So I have, so here was this quilt, and it came up in an Eleanor Beard search. And I was like, and the picture was terrible. And I was like, oh, but I know where to get a great picture of that Alice in Wonderland quilt. I'll just go get it out of that book and scan it. So now you're seeing the benefits of having these wonderful books. Look at Peter Rabbit. I mean the White Rabbit. Look how cute he is. Look, he's like turned away. He's like dancing away. I love pictorial quilts so much. Alice is haunted, but that's okay. Look at that little guy. He's like doing a jig. Oh, I just love him. Anyway, not a huge fan of Alice in Wonderland. Here's me being critical again, but no, I don't know. It's always kind of freaked me out. Anyway, so when I go to, where's my notes? So I go to that book to get the scan. And it's not Eleanor Beard. The Met says it's not. So, things can come up obviously in Google searches and image searches that aren't true and that are totally wrong, and you can't believe everything you read, that's for sure. But oh my god, look at her, she's super faded, as in like she's like super high, right? Didn't she get funky at the tea party? Didn't she take drugs at the tea party? Go ask Alice, indeed. So things are wrong on the internet. So maybe it was just wrong, but it's weird that it came up with Eleanor Beard, because it looks like something maybe that would have come out of her studio. Maybe. Now, I didn't see a lot of pictorial stuff. She seemed to be doing floral things and trapunto things, but I don't know. Look how intricate the Queen of Hearts is. I think that's all pieced. That's not a fabric. That's pieced, right? Totally. Isn't it? Yeah, it is. Because look at like the bodice. I know, Word and Bernard isn't it wonderful? Hey, Rock Dog. You didn't like Alice in Wonderland either. It was just, the writer was a drug user that was in love with a child. Oh my god, you're right. It's true. Oh, it's true. Was he, I didn't know he was on drugs. Yes, the Alice thing. Yeah. I knew, I don't like the story, but then I forgot about, Lewis Carroll. Ugh, gross. He doesn't even get a soundboard. Boo. That's just like uncool. Somebody, was it Mother Nature? Somebody said, look at the legs. Oh no, Word and Birdner. Look at the legs on that flamingo. Chris Ness, hi. Yes. Things are wrong on the internet. The understatement of the year. Of the rest of our lives, right? And Padma's saying this is applique. Oh yeah. It's definitely applique, but what about this? Sorry, this is what Quilt Nerd's all about. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Padma. It's like it inlaid almost, like it's not pieced, because you can kind of tell with the purple and the blue right there. Like the purple seems to be on top of that. I think you're right, which is an interesting thing to think about, layering your applique. I mean, in that very crazy quilt kind of way. Pretty cool, right? I would say it's a great idea. Okay, let's take a look at more of these. I mean, this is a really fun thing to look at while I'm reading to you about this weird... God, I mean, the turtle is... what is that? I forget. It's crying. Ugh, Tweedledum and Tweedledee. It's so weird. Anyway, so the person who, according to Amelia Peck at the Met, the person who made this was Marion Cheever Whiteside Newton. And I've heard that name too. She made this in New York City in 1945. Okay, so here's what we know. Quote, at the turn of the 20th century, interest in quilt making had slackened considerably. I actually disagree. Molly, we talked about that yesterday. Amelia Peck is very smart. I don't have to agree. Don't, believe everything you read. Now I'm criticizing the great Amelia Peck. These morning shows, I'm salty, I guess. I mean, I'm excited. I have so much energy. So maybe I need to take a cue from Alice. Get something in my tea to calm down a little bit. I'm kidding. Oh, God. Some people attribute this slack in interest in quilt making around the turn of the 20th century. I just disagree. It's just not true. They attribute it to the oversaturation that occurred during the crazy quilt era. But in the 1920s, the American patriotism brought about by the successful waging of World War I revitalized the supposedly colonial practice of quilt making, and it continued to flourish through the Depression when it was considered symbolic of the American characteristics of thrift and self-sufficiency. A lot of people put the colonial revival starting in 1876 with the centennial. Amelia. By the 1940s, quilt making was becoming accepted as an art form, and the Metropolitan commissioned, wow, this Alice in Wonderland crib quilt to be made for its collection. Oh, wow. Okay, so it's definitely not Eleanor Beard, because the Met commissioned this quilt. That is crazy. During the process of appropriating money to purchase the quilt with funds from the money at the museum, they talk about why they thought it was necessary. Okay, now here's about the maker. There are comparisons to be made. According to a 1944 article by Mary Anderson in the New York World Telegram, Marion Whiteside Newton ran a successful quilt making business, first organized in the 1930s, specializing in children's quilts. Did we look at everything? Oh, I don't know. Weird. The Cheshire Cat is psychotic and terrifying. Look, I'll just leave it on him. So she had a business too. That's really freaking me out. She first organized it in the 1930s, specializing in children's quilts, appliqued with storybook themes. She designed all her quilts at her workshop at 1212 Fifth Avenue. But once business began in earnest, she did not sew the quilts herself. So she had people sewing for her. I mean, fascinating. Okay, so listen to this if you want to know more, or maybe you should write something on this person. Newton's quilt designs were published in magazines, such as McCall's Magazine and Ladies' Home Journal. And the latter ran a series on the storybook quilts in issues from 1949 through 1961. So go to the microfiche. Go to the microfiche. Okay. At your local library and look at those magazines. Wouldn't that be cool to listen, would somebody do it and scan, all of those quilts from Cheever Whiteside and send them to me? Wouldn't it be fun to look at all of those? I don't think archives of those things are online. I mean, I don't know. Ladies' Home Journal is like all of Ladies' Home Journal online, and will I have to pay for every single image? Yes. Can't do it. Anyway, this is the end. She popularized her work further by marketing ready-to-sew kits. Her more expensive ready-made quilts were sold by special order only through Saks Fifth Avenue. Fascinating. God, I love this show. It's so interesting. I love making this show because it's so interesting. So, it's not Eleanor Beard. But this is Eleanor Beard. The bunnies, look, another reversed thing. So one thing that's really fascinating about this beard, this beard lady, is that her quilts appeared in at least one movie. Top Hat. Hang on. I've got a picture of it. It's not a good picture, but I'll show it to you. This is interesting. So this is an Eleanor Beard, a detail shot of something. That's a very tufted, satiny kind of thing, you know. But here's a a tag. Okay. Oh, and look at this. Oh my God. See, you're justly rewarded for looking at the Cheshire Cat. This is Eleanor Beard as well. So they were doing some other housewares. This is for sale on Etsy. It's $440. It was made in the 1920s. And I don't know, is it a pincushion? Does that make sense? I don't know that it was advertised as a pincushion, but I mean, you have these little safety pins. I mean, oh yeah, those are pins.
Those are pins on its feet.
Yeah,
ahead too.
Yeah. There you go. So it's a pincushion. Maybe they did say it was a pincushion, but I don't remember that part. But it is darling. I mean, and you can totally tell, like, hey, you can tell that it's, oh yeah, pins. Why did I not see that yesterday? That it's Eleanor Beard because it's that same satin. It was probably remnants, right? They started making other things. Just adorable. So cute. Yeah, it is like those little pinned pillows for babies before they were born. Totally. You know what?
That's what I do. I invented Post-its.
That's for you, Word and Burn Nerd. Anyway, so that's kind of what I got about Eleanor Beard, except this is wild. Also at the Met. I know. I can hardly keep track of it myself. But there is a quilt by Eleanor Beard in the Met collection. Online, I don't know that it was in the book. I didn't see it. But I wasn't looking for it. This is a detail shot of a quilt in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and it was made by Eleanor Beard. I have a detail shot because you can go to the Met Museum website and search quilts and you will find this in there. But speaking of copyright issues, they say due to copyright issues, this quilt cannot be viewed at full screen or downloaded or used or anything. So there's a big copyright thing. I can't even, you'll see if you go and find it, the picture is like this big. The best I could do was get a screenshot of a detail shot. Anyway, so I can only show you this, but I mean, Eleanor Beard is at the Met, not for the Alice in Wonderland quilt, but for this. So interesting. I mean, wow, right? There's probably a lot that's been written about Eleanor Beard. It's the kind of story that, I mean, you know, I feel like a quilt researcher would have been, you know, probably has done something on her. By the way, this is one more image that this is part of a quilt, okay? Oh, I found that picture of that movie. This is a close-up of a beard quilt, and it's got this, like, fussy cut applique on it. I mean, you can tell it's appliqued on. And I was like, that's cool. The full quilt of this, you know what, I've got a website where I found a lot of information. I'll put it in the chat. Just for my purposes, the pictures just weren't the thing. But the quilt that this is on is really, wow. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, the chintz quilt, maybe it was mass produced because maybe all those, you know, those fussy cuts were, you know, maybe they were put on, you know, by people. I was like, oh, did she make this chintz quilt? I don't think so. I think it was a reproduction. So here's the picture. I just put the link in the chat of where I got information about her. But here is the picture from the movie. Where did you go? Oh, I know where you went. You went over here. That is Ginger Rogers in Top Hat from 1935. A movie in 1935, Top Hat. And look what she's sitting on. There you go. Now I want to watch it. I mean, hang on. Stephanie, I feel like you want to say something, and it's a perfect timing because I want to look for something.
I did, you always say don't read ahead, but as soon as you mentioned Eleanor Beard, I was like, I got to know more while you're talking.
Yeah.
So I did Google her. This is I love this picture of Ginger Rogers. I love the 30s. And this is that, I've seen these quilts called boudoir quilts.
Yes.
They're silky and I love this. That silky, satiny kind of. But the first one you showed, and now I found a second set of them. You know what they are. And I heard a new term for these type of beds the other day. They called them the Republican beds.
Because go on, tell me.
There's two little twin beds. So if anybody has ever watched I Love Lucy, their bedroom, the two little twin beds, and they were apart. That was like the only way, I guess.
Right.
During the golden age of TV that you were allowed to show bedroom is like, oh my gosh, they don't sleep together. Right. But yeah, that's what those beds are. My grandparents had those beds, and those are the kind of quilts that you put on those beds, like those silky, plush, like.
With the upholstered upholstered headboard,
Yeah.
Great, and matching. I love it. I mean, I do too. And they're poofy, so they're real warm. Listen, I think in some ways, the two bed thing is like, bring it back. I mean, come on. It's great. Like, you can do what you need to do, whatever. But then, just let me sleep. Don't kick me. No one's kicking you. I get it. I completely, I'm in. I would totally go back to these things. Sometimes you just want.
Well, I was gonna say, my husband and I this year will be 27 years that we've been married, and we could probably benefit from not only the quote unquote Republican beds, but also beds in different rooms because he's a bit of a snorer.
That's what, when Eric snores, he doesn't all the time, but if his allergies are bad and if he eats ice cream before he goes to sleep, can't talk about it. Terrible. And I'm just like, I gotta get up at 3 a.m. and move, or I'm just like, you gotta move. Anyway.
Molly wants her own bedroom. Can you imagine? I said this the other night. If I didn't have to share the same bed, I could have great quilts on my bed because my husband's beard wouldn't saw off the edges.
Right? And I don't know. It's sleeping with another person. I mean, I just, I was looking at, we're gonna do one more fun thing that I didn't plan on, but it's gonna be great. We're just gonna watch Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire do a dance number from Top Hat. We're just gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We have to do it. It's like 3 minutes long. Let's just see how it goes. They're so wonderful. And look, we ended with Ginger Rogers and Quilts Take Us Everywhere, so we're gonna watch it. Anyway, I was reading about crib quilts and baby quilts and stuff, and there's also a talk about that at AQSG. Crazy. This day is crazy. And people used to sleep with the kids in the bed. For a long time. It was the kids were in the bed. And then, the modern way of thinking, people started saying, no, it's better for the child to have their own sleeping space. And so for a lot of people, not everybody, whatever, but it changed. But it used to be, that's even more people in the bed. Get out of my bed. Get out of my bed. So here we go. I want to watch this Ginger Rogers thing. Look. Let's just see. And we're not going to, so it's 5 minutes, but we're not going to watch the whole thing. We're just going to watch when they really start dancing. Okay, yeah, here. So we don't know how many, this has like 5.2 million views or something. Okay, let's see what happens. Yes, darling. That was amazing. Oh, wow. That was really good.
Can you imagine? She's like, all right, Fred, darling, I'm going back to my dressing room to put on some sweatpants and lay on my plush Eleanor Beard quilt.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and I have many beds, so I can sleep in any bed in my home. I can do whatever I want. Very interesting. It's ballroom dancing, right? Yes, she gave him sex appeal and he gave her class. Love it. Mark Wesley, did I even say hi to you yet? I didn't say hi to a lot of people today. I was really cranking. Bonnie, everybody. I love seeing you.
It's probably okay. I'm going to guess about half the the nerds were watching from work on the sly.
Oh,
Sneaky,
yeah.
sneaky. I love it, you guys.
It's true. Yeah, we love that. We love it. And anybody who was watching the show through any other avenues, I'm so glad that you did. Yeah, it was the morning show. We do it every other week, 9 a.m. Central. For all my friends who are watching the show today who couldn't before, I'm so glad that you did. And also, yeah, so we have a show tomorrow night, and then on Sunday, it's a big weekend for Quilt Nerd. I'll be here every show. Sunday morning, we're doing a watch party. So Sunday morning, September 18th, 10 a.m. Central, we're doing brunch. We're doing a Twitch brunch watch party. Twitch brunch watch. We're gonna watch The Booksellers, which is a documentary about book nerds, rare book nerds. And I think it's gonna be loads of fun. And, I like to stop videos and chit chat with you and make noise. But the watch parties, you just watch the movie through. We chat. We do all our chatting in the chat thing, not on screen. Well, yeah, I think it is on screen, but it's all segmented. So we watch the movie through, and it's brunch. So I'm gonna have mimosa. Is plural mimosas mimosa? That seems right. I will be having mimosa, and maybe you'll have some more muffins. I made a lot of them. So join us. It'd be really fun. You can just have coffee, whatever you want, but we're gonna watch The Booksellers together. We've never done a watch party, and I think it'll be really fun. You can't do it on any other platform. It's just Twitch, and you do have to have an Amazon Prime subscription. You do, because it's like a perk for the Amazon Prime people, actually, because you get a free subscription to a Twitch channel each month if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber. And yeah, so you have to have Amazon Prime to watch, but I would guess a good number do, and if you don't, that's cool. There's a show Saturday night, shows every week. We do a lot of stuff. So that's all for me. Thanks, Cake. Thanks, Susanna. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like, subscribe, and donate. Yeah. Okay. Bye.